Hey guys, Joe here, and first off, let me apologize. I did not realize that the camera has been in wide mode for the last 4 or 5 videos. I turned ProTune on and it defaulted me back to wide mode. Didn't realize it, wasn't paying any attention. When I shoot the video, I'm just looking for where I'm going to be cutting it. When I'm, editing it, I really wasn't paying attention to the aspect ratio because I'm stupid. Today's video is not a tech video, it's not a pickups video. This video is kind of a tips video for both Craigslist and eBay. If you buy a lot on Craigslist or sell a lot on Craigslist, you probably know these tips. But if you're the casual buyer or the casual searcher, there's a few things that you should know. Let's start with if you are a seller on Craigslist. If you've never sold on Craigslist, it's very easy and it's free for almost everything. There are a few sections on Craigslist that you do have to pay for, but for ordinary stuff like electronics, things like that, it's free to list. That creates an issue because you're going to get people that are spamming Craigslist with a billion things, one item at a time. I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that they do it every day. Why take 3 hours of your day to frickin' upload and keep renewing your ad every day? I don't get that. Second thing, if you're going to try to sell on Craigslist, you cannot price at eBay. It's just not going to happen. eBay is an international, worldwide availability platform. Craigslist is usually just your area. Yes, you can search outside of your home area. You can look in any state in the country or anywhere in Canada, but you're more limited to the audience you're going to reach on Craigslist. So you have to understand that as number one. Number two, you will never get eBay pricing on Craigslist. It's just the way it goes, unless you have something so rare that it does warrant it. But for your everyday things like a wireless mouse that eBay sells for $10, you're not going to get that on Craigslist. Third thing, when you go to price your items, if you try to do eBay pricing, you need to take this into account. eBay sellers, myself included, pay a fee for every item that sells. There's no such thing as free listings. There's no such thing as no fees for selling on eBay. eBay is a for-profit company that absolutely makes money off of every single thing it sells. That being said, if you don't sell on eBay often, you're going to be hit with between a 16 and a 20% fee, okay? Take that into account when you're pricing your item. Also take into account your postage and mailing supplies. Because if you sell a $200 item on eBay and you don't sell a lot, you're going to lose at least $32. 16%, $32. You're going to lose $32. Yes. I know what I'm talking about. Shut up, Grandma. Take that into account when you're pricing it for Craigslist. Also take into account that when you sell your item on eBay, you're going to have to take the money out through PayPal. PayPal takes a fee, so another $2 or $3. So you're going to lose $32 to $35 on that $200 item. So when you price on Craigslist, you should probably take that into account and just go ahead and lower your price. Number one, it will look better to everybody buying, and number two, you're going to be more likely to sell your item. Always list your city. You don't have to put your street address, but you should always put your city. If you put a generalized area code in, it will generate at least a little map on Craigslist so people can see in general where you are. It makes it easier when people are deciding whether or not they're going to drive to go and see you. Answer your emails if you're not going to put your telephone number. I know a lot of people don't like to put their telephone number on Craigslist, and in fact, I have a second phone just so I can do that now. But if you're not going to put your telephone number, answer the damn emails. Especially if somebody sends you an email, you respond once, and they respond right back, have the common courtesy to answer that email right away. Or don't sell on Craigslist. I mean, that's just stupid. Why would you not respond to somebody wanting your item? Be flexible in being willing to meet with somebody. I've run into a few sellers that flat out refuse to meet you in order to make the transaction. That is one of the most frustrating things ever. Yes, you don't have to. But if you're very far away and you have somebody expressing interest, and it's not going to cause you a lot of heartache or headache to drive 10 miles down the road to make it slightly easier for somebody to find your place in the middle of the night, go to that gas station. Make it easier for the person. It's better to do it in a public place that's not near your house anyways, unless it's an item that needs to be tested, like a computer, a television, a video game, whatever. Now, on to buyers. Buyers, you have to understand something. Number one, Craigslist is not a garage sale. It's not a thrift store. It's not a pawn shop. You're not going to get the penny deals that you would if you go out hunting. You should always get a fair deal, but don't expect to find Earthbound for $10 on Craigslist. And don't expect to offer somebody $10 for Earthbound if it is on Craigslist. Because number one, they're not going to sell it for that price. Number two, they know what they have because they went through the effort of actually putting it on the internet. Don't be afraid to make an offer though. That's just straight up honesty. Don't be afraid to make an offer. But you should always have a good rationale behind making that offer. Just because somebody has a Game Boy Advance SP 101, you know it's worth $60, they're asking for $40, so you throw them an offer of $15 just because you want it cheaper. That's kind of an a-hole thing to do. Yes, I will always try to make an offer on something, but knowing what this is worth and knowing what I can get them for at a store and other places, I'm very likely to say if it's worth $40 and they have it advertised for $45, I'm going to offer them $35. I'll still make money. They'll probably come down a lot better than if you call them up or text them, yo dog, I'll give you $15 right now, cash. Nobody's going to take $15 unless they're stupid. Next tip. I don't know what number I'm on. If you agree to a price and you agree to a time to meet, show up when you say you're going to be there and pay the agreed price. There's a caveat to that. If the item is not as described, if this thing was all hacked up after I agreed to $35, it's not what I paid for this, I paid a lot less, you'll see it in the pickup video, but if it's damaged to a degree where it's worth less, then you should probably talk about it. But if you call up a guy and say, hey look, I'm coming right now, I'll meet you, I'll pay you $35, and he agrees to it, do it. Don't be a dick. Tip number 48. If you're not going to be able to make it, notify the other party as soon as possible. Yes, a lot of people won't put their phone numbers on Craigslist, but still make the attempt. Shoot out that email, say, hey look, I can't make it. I'm sorry, something came up. Can we reschedule? Or tell them flat out, hey look, I'm sorry, I just can't do the deal. But don't leave them hanging. Don't let them drive 20 minutes to meet you and then don't show up. Just, again, that goes into the don't be a dick category. One other tip for you sellers out there. If you get a text like that, and I don't give a crap if you see the guy's number because that's a fake number anyway. But if you get a text where it says something to the effect of, I got your text, I'm okay with the price and condition, I'll send you a certified check via 2-day U.S. Postal Service for payment, and I'll arrange for a pickup after the check clears and your bank and you have your cash. I'll need your name and address for the check to be sent to you, awaiting your reply. That is a scam. 100% a scam. Let's move on to the other side of buying and selling, and that is eBay. eBay has a lot of similar rules, so I'm not going to go over every single thing you should do and don't do on eBay, but I will give you some tips. Number one, if you're pricing your items, the best thing to do if you're on your desktop is go into Advanced in your search function and go to Sold Listings. Click on it, lock that down, so that when you're searching your item, say this remote or something, it will bring up all the confirmed sold listings. The next thing you should do is sort them by recently ended first. That way you will get the most current idea of what your item is actually worth. Do the averages. There's always going to be outliers. There's going to be some guy that started his auction way too low and got one bid and had to commit to sell it. And then there's another auction. Let's say the guy put it up and somebody just decided to buy it. They may have paid a little bit more than the average. It's going to happen. As a seller, I try to be right in the middle of the averages. I don't like to try to make $1 million on one item, and I'm not going to give stuff away. I'm not going to lose money to sell something. Seller tip number 2. If you have something you know is going to sell right away and you know what it's worth, put a buy it now price. There's no reason not to put a buy it now price. You can even do this, and I actually do it with these because I know what these sell for. I've sold a lot of these, and actually these are not the ones from the pickup video. I literally got these today. But I will start them at a higher price, and then I'll put or best offer, and I'll put an auto agreement, which means if they offer me at least what I want, it will automatically accept their offer. If they don't, no big deal, no big hassle. When you sell on eBay, you have to be very clear and concise with your descriptions, and you have to be honest. You can't say that this is a Razer Extreme mouse when it's obviously a Logitech mouse. If you do that on eBay and somebody bought it because they didn't look at your pictures, they can instantly cancel the order or ask for a refund. And if you blatantly lie, PayPal and eBay will side with the buyer. You will lose. I've actually had 2 cases come up. I've actually won them both because I was honest, but had I been dishonest or lying in any way, I wouldn't have won. So eBay is kind of important that you're honest. As kind of a common occurrence that I've run into since I've been selling on eBay is people will try, and I don't know why buyers do it, but whatever, I deal with it as I have to. Buyers will try to get you to refund some of their money. It's what they do. Especially if it's somebody that's another reseller, somebody buying your item just to sell it again. I've run into this a few times where somebody will send me an email going, hey, look, this isn't quite right. Would you refund part of the money? If you're comfortable doing that, by all means, go ahead and do it. But what I personally do, especially since I know how much money I have into the item I sent them versus what they're trying to get from me, I will usually offer a full refund to take the item back. It's a lot simpler, and it will usually help dredge out the lying people out there. I had a guy who bought my Asus 752 VT laptop. I've talked about it before. He sent me an email saying that it had scratches on the bottom of the case, and he wanted me to refund him $200. It had scratches on a plastic window on the bottom of the case where the battery and the RAM goes. I said, not a problem, send it back. I'll just give you all your money back because I sold it to you way less than you know it's worth. He says, well, I can get the parts local, so if you just refund part of the money, I'll be good. I said, no, that's fine. If you're not happy with it, I don't want you doing the extra work. Go ahead, send it back, and I will refund all of your money, and I'll just resell it and get more money. I never heard back from him. Do you know why? Because he was trying to scam me out of money. So as a seller, don't fall for that. Call people's bluff. If they accept the full return, no big deal, just relist it. But if they don't, you're never going to hear from them again. Here's a couple of things for you buyers. It's not as much, but it's one of the more important things. If somebody lists a specific time for you to make your payment in the ad, you should abide by it. All of my listings say payment is due immediately. The reason I do that is because I used to give people 24 to 48 hours, and then they would drag it out and drag it out and drag it out. And I'd be getting bids from people that weren't going to commit to buy right away anyways, people that were hoping to get 3 or 4 days. That's not how I run my business. I have some items that have 3 to 7 day listings, but for the most part, I require immediate payments. Now, I will make an exception if somebody messages me and say, hey, look, I need a day or two. If they communicate with me, I'm usually pretty flexible, but I don't like people that don't want to pay right away. Don't snipe an auction if you're not ready to pay for it. eBay is just like any other business. So you cannot buy a lot of things and then try to return them just because you didn't like one corner of a box that was clearly posted as being damaged. You can't do that. You can't switch out items and send stuff back because you're going to eventually lose. And you can't just be a jerk on eBay. You have to have a modicum of respect for the seller. If you're just an a-hole who's just screwing around on eBay, you're part of the problem. But if you're a decent person, you follow the rules, you do things the way you're supposed to, number one, I want to know you because you're a good person. And number two, it just makes everything go smoother. That's why eBay succeeds. They're very fastidious in their control on their website. Yes, they do a couple of things I don't agree with. Yes, they tend to side with the buyer regardless of what happens, and you have to file appeal after appeal. But in the long run, you are being able to reach a massive audience of people. Massive audience. The entire world. in fact. That alone is worth the price of admission to use that service. So I hope this video was a little bit informative, and I hope you learned a few things. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, find my head. It's usually hiding somewhere over there. He looks a little scared. He needs a friend. So, poke him on the nose. And then, if you don't know what you're going to see next, just click on one of these two videos. I don't even know what it's going to be. And, as always, I'll talk to you later.